Have you ever faced a moment where everything in your life changed and you had to choose between what was easy and what was right? This is the story of Ruth, a story of loss, loyalty, and unexpected hope. One of the most powerful love stories in the Bible, not just romantic love, but love that's deep, sacrificial, and life-changing. Let's go back, way back, to a time of famine in the ancient land of Israel. There was a man named Elimelech who lived in Bethlehem with his wife Naomi and their 2 sons. Times were hard. Food was scarce, so they left their home and traveled to a foreign land called Moab, hoping for a better life. In Moab, things seemed to settle. The 2 sons grew up and married Moabite women. One of them was named Ruth, the other Orpah. But then tragedy struck. First, Elimelech died, and then, shockingly, both sons died too. Suddenly, Naomi was left alone, a widow in a foreign land, with no husband, no sons, and no support. Naomi, heartbroken, decided to go back to Bethlehem. She heard the famine was over, and maybe, just maybe, there was still a place for her back home. She told her 2 daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah, to stay in Moab. She said, "You're young. You still have a future here. Go back to your families. Start over." Orpah wept, hugged Naomi, and eventually turned back. But Ruth didn't move. Instead, she looked Naomi in the eyes and said something unforgettable. "Don't urge me to leave you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." That moment was everything. Ruth made a choice not just to stick by Naomi, but to leave behind her own country, her own religion, her whole identity out of pure love and loyalty. So Ruth and Naomi arrived in Bethlehem, 2 widows with nothing. To survive, Ruth went to the fields to gather leftover grain, a practice called gleaning. It was a law in Israel to leave some grain for the poor to pick up. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. As it turns out, Ruth happened to be working in the field of a kind, wealthy man named Boaz. Boaz noticed her, not just her looks, but her character. He had heard how Ruth had stood by Naomi, how she worked hard, how humble she was, so Boaz told his workers to protect her, to leave extra grain for her, and to make sure she had enough. When Ruth told Naomi about this man, Naomi's eyes lit up. "Boaz is one of our family's close relatives," she said. "He's a guardian redeemer, someone who can help us." One night, Naomi gave Ruth a plan. A risky one. She told Ruth to go to Boaz after the harvest celebration, to lie at his feet as a sign of humility and ask him to take her under his protection, essentially to propose marriage under the customs of the time. This wasn't flirtation, it was brave. It was vulnerable, and Ruth did it. When Boaz woke up and found her there, she said simply, "Spread your covering over me. For you are a redeemer." Boaz was deeply moved. He told her, "You've shown great kindness. Don't worry, I will do all that you ask." But there was a catch. There was another man, a closer relative, who had the legal right to marry Ruth first. Boaz didn't waste time. The next morning, he met with the other man in front of the town elders. When the man declined the responsibility, Boaz stepped forward and said, "Then I will redeem her." And just like that, Ruth, the Moabite outsider, the grieving widow, became the wife of Boaz. Their union was blessed. They had a son named Obed, and here's where the story takes an incredible turn. Obed became the father of Jesse, and Jesse became the father of David, the greatest king in Israel's history, and generations later, from the line of David, came Jesus. The story of Ruth isn't just about finding love, it's about choosing love, the hard kind, the kind that stays, the kind that sacrifices. It's about hope when things fall apart, about how faithfulness in the small things can lead to something far greater than we ever imagined. And it's about how God sees the overlooked, the broken-hearted, the outsider, and brings redemption through their story. So the next time life feels uncertain or your future feels small, remember Ruth, because sometimes the smallest acts of love echo through eternity,